Click the links to join channel here, become a member, get that coveted, I don't know, blue, you get a name of color in the live streams, or over at Subscribestar. So Jonathan Majors, the Ant-Man movie, he was played a role that the movie didn't do very well. Not his fault, to be fair. It was really, I guess it would be the writer's fault. It's not even the writer's fault. You go, the writers, like, they write what they're told to write. They know which way the wind is blowing, and they're insane leftists themselves, but I think they're only doing what they're told to do. You can't really get mad at people. It's like the writers are just pointing to the guy upstairs and go, yeah, this whoever is in charge of the Marvel movies is it's like here's kind of the rough direction we want to go in, and the writers put it out there. It's like, oh, the movie bombed. Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of that coming from Marvel and DC. Anyway, so his attorney, man, I would have fired her when she released the first comment the next day, and she released some text message exchanges between the uh, the parties, and it made it look like the girlfriend had Stockholm syndrome. Like, even people who were kind of wanted to support him or look at this situation like, why would you release these? Like, this doesn't say what you think it says. And you look at the lawyer, like, yeah, this guy's paying you hundreds of thousands of dollars. You really should. The lawyer is a brown woman, so he's hoping that's kind of helping him. It's like the winds have shifted direction in a few months because of the whole 2020 thing. Like, it had reached a peak where people were sympathetic to this cause, and then started changing direction because people saw that it was not like Sharon Osbourne, right? She donated money to BLM, and she goes like, I donated $900,000. I was like, why? Oh, because I thought it was this. It's like, did you see any evidence? Oh, no, but the dopamine made me feel good. I'm just trying to say that the winds have shifted like pretty rapidly over the past few months. And let me also say that male or female, if your relationship gets physical, it's time to leave. It's just not. It can lead to very many dark places. With some, like if you're with somebody who can't control themselves, has a poor impulse control, or even if you're in a relationship like where you're like loudly arguing, I've never had that kind of thing. You probably want to. It's not worth it. Even if you're falsely accused or legitimately, it's just not worth it either way. People get weird. You don't like this. Life is too short to be around like potentially violent people. So I checked Twitter, and there is almost zero support for this guy. I think abusing women is just a bridge too far for people. Nobody wants to, like, even his fans don't really want to come out and take the position. So like, it's just kind of a black hole on Twitter. So the thing is, for his attorney to really solve these weird comments, this is the wrong take for this situation, because nobody's cool with a woman abuser. It'd be better off just not to say anything, to say something this stupid. Like, sometimes with uh, PR people and attorneys, sometimes they think they're PR people, but if they don't have the skill at it, it's like, well, you're going to have to talk to someone who's in PR, and this attorney doesn't know what she's doing. Because some things, everyone tries to manage the narrative. That's not always the right case. Sometimes the best thing to do is just pull oxygen away from it and just leave it alone. If Don't feed the fire anything and let it sit for a few months. Because if you can't bring anything positive to it, then you're just reminding people of a negative, and that's what his attorney has been doing, which is really weird. Because you're bringing attention to this alleged abuse, where you've got a 200-pound guy who's attacking, a 110-pound model. That's not a good look. You can't manage the narrative on that. So I mean, really, the path is whatever happens in court is going to happen in court. Just if it's on camera, if there's something on camera, then you're done. But otherwise, the path is going to be like years and years of therapy, where you have a come to Jesus moment type of thing. Take a few years off from Hollywood, then try to come back. But I mean, if something's on camera, then you're not going to be coming back to Hollywood, because people really hate women abusers. If anything is going to trigger people, that's right up there. Because you got a 200-pound athlete who was in a boxing movie. So people are very familiar with that view of him beating the hell out of somebody. It's bad. It's a coincidence of bad optics all the way around. And the lawyer's trying to make it about Islamophobicism. It's like, it's not selling. It might have sold like 2 years ago, but it's just not selling now, because you got this. People view him as that the muscular boxer, and then the image of, oh yeah, he attacked a 120-pound model. It's like, yeah, you don't want to bring any oxygen to that. Anyway, even women are not going to support, and like even in this cultural Marxist type of stuff, everyone's kind of backing away from this because nobody's going to support an abusive guy. The globalists try to push that whole Karen and white woman tears type of stuff, but everyone knows that's just kind of the parasites in the media doing what they do best. And like 2 years ago, the Karen law, it used to be if you see something, say something, and then they dialed that back. And then, so, you logically look at that and go, if it used to be, don't get involved, call the cops, let the cops handle it. They're professionals. And then the globalists are changing the narrative on that. So they go, don't, if you call the cops, you might be liable. Like, so if we don't see suspicion of, like, it used to be you call the cops and they just check things out. It's like, that's the goal. But now, it's supposed to have a chilling effect on calling the cops. So what happens to a society? And that's why I mean the difference in just 2 years, because you look at Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, and a bunch of these other cities, and its crime is skyrocketing. It's not looking too good. Like, it's very publicly not looking good. And then you also have the stores closing and that kind of stuff. So people are starting to re-examine. And, San Francisco and Portland, you go, you guys voted for this? So, there's videos of, like, there's a Target video comes out where some lady in San Francisco, I think, everything at Target is behind plexiglass, and she's posting this video like she's shot, and like obviously that Target's going to close down. You can't operate a business like that. Everything's going to go to like a mail order type of thing, where eventually they'll just rob the trucks. And it's like, so is this Brazil? Yeah, you vote for Brazil, you're going to get Brazil. But she posts that Target video, and she's shot, like, people are shocked about it. It's like, yeah, what did you expect? I mean, for some reason, that video kind of awakened a lot of people because they realized, our voting has consequences. Like, Walgreens is closing, and now everything's behind glass. It's like, it doesn't seem like a functioning society that, in a way that it used to be just 20 years ago or something. Anyway, there's a comparison with Ezra Miller, who seems to me to be actually insane. But he was a little bit different because in Iceland or something, he threw some girl down, but it didn't look like she was hurt. And I'm sure he paid her off, but it didn't. It seemed like he was able to manage that pretty well. And then he was breaking into hotel rooms, and he seemed to have a weird drug cult with underage girls. But, like, there was no allegations of he was abusing them. He was just a weirdo, and he's doing weird things. But it's also kind of a step down from choking a woman in public. And the optics are different because Ezra is like 150 to 60 pounds, 6 foot tall ish, but he's very thin. And Majors is about the same height, but he's 200 pounds, and he's shredded. So Ezra is coming across as someone who's legitimately mentally ill, and Majors comes across as someone who's violent with poor impulse control and a big, strong guy. The vibe is totally different from this. And don't get me wrong, if I was in charge, I would trebuchet them both into the sun. But, people aren't afraid of Ezra in the same way. He just seems schizo, where Major seems like a street thug who attacks women. And then his girlfriend seems to have this, like, the lawyer released these tweets or messages where she seems to have Stockholm syndrome, which implies that the abuse was probably ongoing. Like, it was just a stupid way to try to manage this. And the thing is, people are not going to be on board using race as an excuse, especially if there's evidence that shows him to be an abuser, which from the phone records might be the case, and people claiming race for everything. It feels like the tide is turning about how much people care about that. But that, I mean, I saw this interview. I'm following the Portland, San Francisco stuff, where there's a Portland business owner, and he looked like a soy boy, and he was very careful in his interview. And the news was interviewing people because businesses had been closing down. The things with San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, the left is trying to explain away the stores closing down, but and saying like, oh, we don't need those stores anyway. And the people living in the cities are like, oh, we do need those stores because, people, grandma gets her drugs from the store, and if everything, you try to shop in a store, everything's locked up. It's like people are looking at it and they're saying to themselves, but we're not thieves. Well, why are we being punished for what thieves are doing? It's like, why don't you punish the thieves? Which for a left winger is an epiphany to say, oh wait, crime and punishment. Like the thieves should go to jail for being thieves, and like poverty is not a crime. Yeah. So they're getting the results of their policies, their feel good policies of not punishing people for crimes. Like, well, did you think that crime would not increase? And you look at them and you realize yes, that's what they thought. They thought crime would not increase. If everything is catch and release and under $950 is just not going to be prosecuted, well then crime. And to be fair, like with the criminals, they don't give a shit about $950. they're just emptying the store, and a lot of it's over $950. It's still not getting prosecuted. It's like, yes, oh no, the consequences of my behavior. Yeah, voting has consequences. And the thing is, for people in San Francisco and Portland to wake up, yeah, I don't see that happening. It would take a lot more for them to wake up. That's how brainwashed a lot of these people are. Anyway, so this interview with this Portland business owner, he's very carefully in this interview, because his face is on camera. He's saying like, yeah, it might be, eventually the businesses, eventually, we're going to have to do something about this. He's saying he wants to return to law. Defund the police. 6 months later. So we're going to be refunding the police and hiring more? Like, what happened to that? Well, the consequences of their ideas. So their ideas were bad. Like a child would look at that and go, yeah, these ideas are bad. Well, how come you not say anything about it? I don't know, because I'm in the middle of a left-wing herd, and I'm scared to actually say something that goes against the herd, because I'll get doxxed, I'll get fired, the banks will cancel my account, and I'll get kicked off social media. So you're saying these NGOs really control the country? Like, shouldn't you be protected from that de jure, from being fired and having the banks cancel your accounts if you say something online? Shouldn't you be protected? Yeah, you should. Don't hold your breath on that. Are you going to vote your way out of this? No. I realize this story's doing a lot of heavy lifting, but I mean, the thing is, it's all tied in. It's all tied into. Anyway, so he's this tofu guy is saying that he's starting to realize that, if businesses close because of looting, because we're not prosecuting theft, or when they get arrested, it's just catch and release. So my business is probably going to be next. And then the users of the city are realizing, wait, so where do I go? Because I used to walk to Walgreens to get whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, the store's closed. So is a new store coming in? Not a retail store where people can carry out items. It's going to be like office space or something, something that has heavy items. I don't know, but it's like they realize, this does, like, the city, the fabric of the city changes with these policies. Like, yes, you voted for these things. Then the stores leave, and the funniest thing, cities like this, let me see this very carefully, have elected officials, but they also have an unelected officials who are the community leaders. They're not elected, but they're the subsidiary government of these types of cities, where community leaders will do interviews and give press conferences. They're not elected. They have the elected officials. It's an interesting political structure. It's like the beginnings of kind of Marxist city. So they have these community leaders, and they give these press conferences, and you think, like, shouldn't the elected officials do that? But they're outraged that the stores aren't staying so that they can be looted. And they give these press conferences, and they demand that the stores come back, or they demand that they don't close. And you look at these people like, are they all just crazy? I mean, is there any other explanation other than these people are just crazy? I don't have a better explanation where they think, oh, the only place that sold fresh produce or something is this grocery store, and they closed. Like, so why did they close? Because they got looted, and it wasn't a safe environment for their employees. So why did they get looted? Because or theft crime, because they weren't punished. Oh, so you're gonna do anything about that? No, the stores just have to stay. So who's going to subsidize? So we can raise the prices so you can subsidize the looting, but then it reaches a point of absurdity, which is why the stores left. Anyway, my point with all that is that people are not as sympathetic to these type of things as they would have been 2 years ago. Like, a lot has changed in 2 years. And it was kind of the wrong time for this guy to do this. I think he's pretty much done. Maybe he can come back in a few years. Like, if he really has a come to Jesus moment and comes back, you can see what happens to him. Like, no matter what happens with this case, I think he's in trouble. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode.